for those that are considering marching over the weekend, I ask them to reflect with all human dignity, grace and understanding.
You've allowed it to go on for years on campus. Empty words. Empty words. It's all empty words. We demand action.
Before we get started, if you appreciate straightforward political analysis that doesn't pull punches, hit that subscribe button now. Trust me, you'll want to stay updated on what we uncover here at UK Connors. 2 men are dead. 3 people lie in hospital beds. And somewhere in the corridors of Greater Manchester Police Headquarters, someone is desperately trying to explain how a man accused of rape, out on police bail, managed to drive a car into worshippers outside a synagogue before attempting to stab his way through its doors. Let's be absolutely clear about what happened on Thursday in Manchester, because this isn't just another tragic headline to scroll past over your morning coffee. This is a fundamental breakdown of the systems we're repeatedly assured are keeping us safe. Adrian Dolby and Melvin Kravitz. Remember those names. Whilst our institutions fumbled, these 2 men stood between evil and a room full of people at prayer. Dolby, 53, described by his family as a hero who died in an act of courage saving others. Kravitz, 66, a security guard doing his job, a kind and caring man who would do anything to help anyone. They held those synagogue doors shut. They stopped Jihad al-Shami from turning Thursday's attack into a massacre. And here's the part that should make your blood run cold. Adrian Dolby may have been shot by the very police who were meant to protect him. Greater Manchester Police have confirmed his injuries may sadly have been sustained as a tragic and unforeseen consequence of urgently required action taken by the officers. Unforeseen consequence. That's the phrase they've chosen. A man dies defending his community, and we're meant to accept this sterile bureaucratic language as if it explains anything at all. But let's rewind, because the failures here didn't start when shots were fired. Jihad al-Shami, 35 years old, British citizen of Syrian descent, was on police bail for an alleged rape. Read that again. On bail. For rape, walking free, and according to Greater Manchester Police's own statement, he may have been influenced by extreme Islamist ideology. So we have a suspected rapist with extremist leanings, released back onto the streets, who then drives a car into pedestrians outside a synagogue before attempting to stab his way inside. The synagogue was attacked on one of the holiest days in the Jewish calendar, and yet somehow no alarm bells rang loudly enough in our security apparatus to prevent this. Here's what the timeline tells us. Witnesses reported seeing a man acting suspiciously outside the synagogue. He was confronted by security and walked away. This was not reported to police. 15 minutes later, he returned in a vehicle and began his horrific attack. 15 minutes. A quarter of an hour between a suspicious individual being spotted and carnage unfolding. Now, one could argue that synagogue security should have called the police immediately, and perhaps they should have. But let's be honest about the world we're living in. Jewish communities have been securing their own places of worship for years because they've learned, often the hard way, that they cannot rely solely on state protection. They've had to become their own first line of defense. And on Thursday, that defense worked. Adrian Dolby, Melvin Kravitz, Yoni Finlay, who also remained hospitalized after being shot, they held those doors. They kept the attacker out. Where was the backup? They shouldn't have needed to be. The attacker wore what appeared to be an explosive device. It was fake. We now know, assessed by police after the incident. But imagine the terror of those moments. Imagine being Rabbi Daniel Walker, leading prayers inside, watching what he described as evil and hate as a man tried to batter his way through your doors, potentially wearing a bomb. This is Britain in 2025. This is what we've become. A nation where a 5-year-old Jewish child asked his mother if helicopter swarms are normal for Yom Kippur. Where a woman named Zippy tells BBC Radio 5 Live that her family no longer feels welcome in the area, and she's rethinking whether there's a future for them there. This should shame us. Every single one of us. Police have now arrested 6 people in total. 3 were arrested yesterday, 3 more today. 1 man and 2 women, ages between 18 and mid-40s, arrested on suspicion of commission, preparation, and instigation of act of terrorism. The investigation continues. Police are conducting intense searches, including at a house on Central Avenue in Bolton where tactical aid units and search teams have been seen coming and going, police cameras flashing in upstairs windows. The machinery of counterterrorism has swung into action, but it's rather closing the stable door after the horses have bolted and trampled people to death, isn't it? Metropolitan Police Commissioner Mark Rowley announced an extra 350 officers will be deployed across Jewish locations in London this weekend to reassure and protect communities. That's welcomed, obviously. But Rowley was refreshingly blunt about the limitations. A police officer cannot be deployed at every synagogue and every Jewish school day in, day out. Resources are finite. They'll tip resources to where the greatest risks are. Which begs a rather obvious question. If resources are so finite, why was a man accused of rape and potentially influenced by extremist ideology allowed to wander free on bail in the first place? Priorities, it seems, are rather skewed. Then there's a political response, which managed to be simultaneously predictable and utterly tone-deaf. Deputy Prime Minister David Lammy attended a vigil in Manchester. Laudable, one might think. Shows solidarity, offer comfort, demonstrate that government cares. Except Lammy was met with boos and chants of shame on you from the crowd. Why? Because the Jewish community in this country is exhausted. They are exhausted by platitudes. They are exhausted by vigils that change nothing. They are exhausted by politicians who show up for photo opportunities whilst the underlying security failures that enable these attacks remain unaddressed. Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham called it an attack on all of us. Manchester City Council leader Bev Craig promised the city is willing to meet with every single one of you, here to listen, not lecture. Rabbi Daniel Walker, with considerably more steel in his spine than most politicians could muster, urged Jews to show your strength and your pride and show you are not coward. Brave words from a man who watched evil try to batter down his door. But here's what's really being asked of Jewish communities in Britain. Keep calm and carry on. Secure your own synagogues. Pay for your own security guards. Hold your own doors shut when attackers come. Die heroically if necessary. And afterwards, we'll have a vigil, deploy some extra police for the weekend, and issue statements about our values. It's utterly insufficient. It's morally bankrupt. And it's been the pattern for far too long. The uncomfortable truth is this attack was preventable. A man on bail for rape should not have been free to plan and execute a terrorist attack. A man reportedly influenced by extreme Islamist ideology should have been on someone's radar. The gaps in our security infrastructure that allowed this to happen are not new. They are chronic. We've known about them for years. Report after report has highlighted failures in counterterrorism strategy, in managing suspects on bail, in protecting vulnerable communities. And yet here we are again, counting bodies and praising heroes who shouldn't have had to be heroes because the system should have worked. David Aklubi, an Orthodox Jewish man who lives near the synagogue, told reporters he feels safe, but only because of support from neighbors. We've been here for many years. We've lived in peace for many years, and we're hoping we can carry on like that. Hope. That's what it's come down to. Not confidence in institutions. Not trust in security services. Hope and the support of neighbors who, bless them, shouldn't need to be a community's primary defense against terrorism. This is where we are. 2 men dead. 3 in hospital, 6 arrested, extra police deployed for the weekend, an investigation that will take some time, we're told. Avoid speculation, they urge. But speculation isn't necessary when the facts are damning enough. Britain's counterterrorism strategy has failed the Jewish community again. Our bail system has failed. Our risk assessment protocols have failed. And 2 ordinary men paid the price for those failures with their lives while simply trying to protect their community at prayer. Adrian Dolby and Melvin Kravitz deserved better. The Jewish community deserves better. We all deserve better than a system that reacts to tragedy rather than prevents it. If you want to see more unflinching analysis of what's really happening in British politics, subscribe to UK Connors now, because this conversation isn't over, and neither are we.